You're still watching UBC TV Inspiring Uganda. My name is Sharon Chomjisha with Nakakoni Elizabeth on sign language. This is UBC News Tonight. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Museveni is back from Pretoria. UPDF destroys 410 illegal fishing boats. Trump dismisses North Korean weapons tests. Teams continue search for Helm in Copper League. President Museveni is back home at the conclusion of a two-day official visit to South Africa, during which he joined other heads of state and government for the inaugural and swearing-in ceremony of Cyril Ramaphosa as the 6th democratically elected president of the Republic of South Africa. The colourful ceremony took place at Loftus Stadium in Pretoria. Now, Presidency Minister Honourable Esther Mbaye and Head of Public Service Mr. John Mitala, among others, received the President on arrival at Entebbe Airport. In more stories, the Fisheries Protection Unit under the Marine section of the Uganda People's Defence Forces has destroyed 410 illegal fishing boats and over 400 illegal fishing nets in an operation carried out against illegal fishing activities on Lake Choga. The operation took place yesterday at Chibuye landing site at Wampanga sub-county in Nakasongola district. The operation witnessed the command of the 40th Marine Battalion, Lieutenant Colonel Beno Namanya, under the command of Colonel James Nwagaba, who is the head of UPDF's Fisheries Protection Unit, swing into action against illegal fishing activities on Lake Choga.
The operation that took place yesterday also involved cleaning Chibuye landing site, impounding and destroying of unworthy fishing boats and nets, removal of water weeds, in addition to sensitizing the residents and fishermen on the best ways of keeping Lake Choga productive. Lieutenant Colonel James Nwagaba, the Fisheries Protection Unit commander, advised the residents and fishermen at Chibuye landing site in particular and Lake Choga environs in general to stop illegal fishing activities so that they are able to have more mature fish stock in the lake that will in turn give them chance of realizing better financial profits.
Of course, there is no boat that is illegal on Lake Choga. That is number one. All boats, we measured them, they are all illegal. They are half the boat we need. We are going to ban them. After that, we clean the landing site of Kasasiro. I don't know how I can call it. You have seen that Kasasiro. Although this landing site, we consider it to be one of the smartest, but you can see, you can get a full counter of dustbin, kavera, water bottles, condom pieces. They are all there. And these are the things children use when they are playing.
He, however, commended the residents for the cooperation in the entire operation and asked them to report those that might have hidden the destructive unworthy boats and nets.
And they also tell us, eryato lyange muli tutte naye kabanda yadduse n'amaato 10 yagakwese gundi. Now there is that cooperation that we are beginning. But we have generally improved the area and we make sure all criminals, they will either shift.
Lieutenant Colonel Nwagaba decried politicians who are fighting their work under the guise of fighting for their people.
When you find a honorable member is arguing, when you are standing in the dustbin, when you are smelling whatever you are smelling, because people have no toilets, you wonder
He therefore called upon politicians to support them instead and join in their efforts of fighting illegal fishing activities to revive the fishing industry in the country. A recently released report credited the UPDF operations in curbing illegal fishing activities in the country. The report noted that one of the dividends of the operation is the rise in the number of Nile perch and other fish varieties on Lake Victoria.
But today, Lake George and Edward, people are also enjoying fish.
The chairman of Chibuye landing site, Mr. Noah Issa, welcomed the UPDF operation in their area and said much as it was painful to destroy their bird boats and nets, it was for the good of the residents of that site in particular and the fishing industry in general.
Luvanimolie nasingo lya byalanda bito ebite bigasa nange nze sikiriza kulya byalanda bito wagume nkola government tugende nayo singa tukwatagana tujja kuganira nawo nasinga tetukwatagana tujja kubera bubi.
He however appealed to government to come to their rescue and help his people in the meantime as they find a way of getting the recommended fishing gears.
Nsaba busabi singa asobola bagezeeko nnyo ukubafala kubaleta katimba nakaliati jebayagala oba senetaina wahinza kufuna loan baberewo kusinga kubera wao abantu bayi bayagala kola wano bali tetulina mulimu tetulima tukolagana nani nyanje eno naye atudukirire ngari yatu government jayagala atulete mangu tukole chesabyeko government.
After failing to eliminate the vice of illegal fishing using civilians and marine police, President Museveni directed for the deployment of UPDF soldiers to lead the fight. I'm Dennis Blair Kalanzi in Nakasongola.
Great initiative right there. Moving on, teachers under the umbrella body Uganda National Association of Teachers Union have resolved to suspend the industrial strike until the end of next term. This is after a request by the President of Uganda, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who shared the whole afternoon meeting the UNATU members and other stakeholders to resolve on the contentious matter. Now, the proposed strike comes after teachers demand 50% salary enhancement. Details follow.
In June last year, government signed a collective bargaining agreement with the Uganda National Teachers Union in a move to give room for negotiations of salary enhancement, which was to be done in 3 phases. How the pact did not bear fruits since government only implemented the first phase, which prompted UNATU to declare an industrial action starting Monday.
Currently, the least paid teacher earns Uganda shillings 469,355 shillings. This is before taxes. And it is difficult, Your Excellency, to cater for all the above using the current salary.
President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni did not wait for the action to boil before he meets the stakeholders.
Because I was also a licensed teacher. I was not a... Baguma, your spokesperson, is partly right and partly wrong.
President Museveni asked the teachers to retract from putting the nation on tension, but rather get educated on the government priorities like infrastructure, roads, and electricity, among others.
Because if you don't do that, you're not going to manage. Okay, education is a priority. But what if you are not able to adequately fund both security and education? When God created the earth, it took him 6 days. It was on Saturday when he created the human being. you trying to say that the human being is not important?
It should be noted that the teachers had wanted up to 251 billion in the next financial year 2019-2020 to cater for the salary enhancements. However, only 49 billion shillings has been approved, leaving a balance of 202 billion. This caused a heated debate in the meeting as President Museveni did not commit himself to the balance, but rather commits to better satisfaction, which will be communicated by the end of July 2019.
Your Excellency, this is not the first time sitting with you and agreeing on certain terms. Your Excellency, we are not opposed to suspending the industrial action for a term if we are assured that the funds that are going to be looked for will be paid in arrears from July 1st.
So I don't want to, because if they have agreed, what if they don't have the money? What are you going to do? Even if they have agreed and what, but they don't have the money, or something urgent comes. What do we do? Can we not wait?
The teachers resolved to adhere to President's commitment and agreed to collectively suspend the strike until the end of the second term.
Your Excellency, we have respected your word, and let us not plan to fail. Let us plan to succeed, so that we move here and know that we are going to look for resources, and then we go and concentrate on our work, while Honorable Bahati and colleagues also concentrate on looking for resources.
If we raise anything additional, let it be shared by some of the groups, especially the low ones.
Meanwhile, President Museveni has slammed the constitution, which gives room for imbalances in the salary of public servants, saying there is need to harmonize and introduce uniformity.
When the money for public service comes, some of the public servants get more than they should get. That one I totally agree. It's a big problem. It started with especially the member. It was the Constitution, which was written badly in 1995. It's a structural problem, but we shall solve it slowly. The other people whom they said should fix their own salaries were the judges. This is not correct. We should go back to the practice of one salaries board, the whole public servants. That's what you should be demanding.
Daniel Mugoya reporting for UBC.
Members of Parliament, the United Leadership.
That was the President of Uganda addressing teachers from the UNATU. Moving on, Namirembe Diocese Christians have commemorated Mose Mukasa Day. Now, Mose Mukasa was the 5th martyr to be killed by Kabaka Mwanga at Mulungu Munyonyo. The Bishop of Namirembe Diocese, the Right Reverend Wilberforce Chichioluwadida, was the main celebrant, while Right Reverend Dr. Festus Kwasi from the Diocese of Sunyani was the guest preacher. We have a detailed report.
A number of Uganda martyrs were not necessarily killed at Namugongo, as many people think. As pilgrims flock Namugongo, where 23 Church of Uganda and 22 Catholic-leaning martyrs were killed, they need to be made aware that others were killed in places like Munyonyo, Old Kampala, Mitiana, Busega, and many other places. Christians from Namirembe Diocese have this Sunday gathered at Munyonyo to honor Musa Mukasa, the martyr who was killed 133 years ago because of his faith. A visiting Ghanaian bishop, the Right Reverend Dr. Festus Kwasi, commended the church and government for valuing and keeping the martyr's historical sites.
The government and traditional leaders, the Kabakas and all for their efforts in supporting the church in this country, especially in maintaining the martyrs' site. The Bible says when we pray for those in authorities that there will be peace and tranquility, and then we can serve our God.
Bishop Kwasi also said that many Christians are still being persecuted in continent Africa.
In many, even in our African countries, we are facing a lot of Christians under persecution.
Munsi yonna tukyesanze nga abakristaayo bangi bali mu kiseera eky'okuyiganyizibwa.
And so the fact remains that it could happen anywhere in this world.
Amazima gali nti kuno okutulugunyizibwa n'okuyiganyizibwa tekujja kukomawo wokka naye kujja kutambula kutuuke mu buli nsonda ey'ensi.
He called on believers not to lose faith in God.
We should always remember to put Christ first, even at the peril of our own lives. We should make every effort that we will not compromise our faith and get our spirit and our commitment tainted with sin, the devil, and the world.
The Bishop of Namirembe Diocese, the Right Reverend Wilberforce Kicholwalira, thanked Mengo Archdeacon for partnering with Bishop Kwasi in extending the kingdom of God. The Archdeacon of Mengo, Venerable John Jita, gave a brief history of Musa Mukasa, who was a brave and strong in faith. Beatrice Nanziri compiled this report.
Now, the State Minister for Northern Uganda, Grace Kwichini, has pledged government support towards Nile Girls Forum cause of empowering and transforming West Nile sub-region girls as they utilize their potential. This was during the official launch of the Nile Girls Forum, a charity organization fundraising dinner organized at Spec Resort, Munyonyo.
And liquid soap.
26-years-old procurement and logistic management graduate from Zombo district, Peace Pimal, has for a long time witnessed girls dropping out of school due to lack of school fees and early pregnancies. It is for this reason that in 2018, Pimal started a charity organization to sensitize and empower girls in her home area of Zombo district.
I started my primary one from Kampala, and every time I would travel back, I would see the siblings and my former classmates get pregnant, others are single moms, and every time they meet me, they don't want to look at me because they feel like, oh wow, this is lucky, this has this, so I wanted to change that narrative.
Her efforts have paid following the launch of the charity organization, Nile Girls Forum, a platform that enables girls to utilize their full potential.
Hereby officially launched the Nile Girls Forum app.
On behalf of government, the State Minister for Northern Uganda, Grace Kwichini, pledged total support to Nile Girls Forum.
These things alone. Development is a multi-sectoral idea, approach. You cannot do it alone. You have to be friends with other organizations, with the government, with the civil society, with the private sector, with all of us. We have to be partners.
Kwichini urged the founders to address issues affecting girls and boys in West Nile to contribute to the sustainable development.
And if the men are now feeling it is good to focus on that also, because we do not want disparity. It would be a fair balance. If a girl has also gone to school, the boy has also gone to school, so you can speak English, so you can bring your children. When it is time for immunization, you all go and take your child for immunization, so that none of you is saying, no, I don't think it is a good idea to immunize.
The resident representative from the International Monetary Fund, Claire Miller, urged government to implement the gender equality into a national policy.
The gender equality is a very important condition. So this is something that we started looking at more and more and more. So it's not just that we all feel that from a moral point of view, from an ethical point of view, we all should be equal and have the same opportunities.
Nile Girls Forum provides training in tailoring, candle making, and reusable sanitary pads in Zombo, Nebi, and Arua district of West Nile. Mutesa Sira Haruna reporting for UBC News.
Every dream has a challenging journey. Ours began in 1998 with a mission to drive the development of a robust communications sector in Uganda. We created structures to champion the dream. We've evolved, made discoveries, supported great minds, empowered Ugandans, and fostered a vibrant culture, enabling communication for all. Down the years, we've created memories and networks, uniting generations and building great partnerships. Together, we can go even further. UCC, celebrating 20 years of achievements.
Hello, my name is, as usual, Mr. Budget. Now, the major aim of decentralization is to bring services closer to the people. You see, majority of Ugandans are actually served by their local governments. The overall local government allocation for the next financial year is 3.8 trillion shillings. Good money, right? And 2.8 trillion shillings of this is recurrent expenditure, while 948 billion shillings is development expenditure. The big question though is this enough for local governments to bring services closer to their people? Let's find out together at the budget reading on the 13th of June 2019. Our budget, our responsibility. This message is brought to you by CS-BAG, Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, and URA.
12 displays that will leave you enthralled. Make a date with us during the first Sunday of every month. With over 2,000 participants at one venue, we aim to keep healthy, network, ensure viable brand positioning, and make friends while having fun during our monthly sports festival.
You're still watching UBC News Tonight. In more stories, Yumbe Woman Member of Parliament Riwaru Zaitun suggests to government to introduce the idea of funding some non-government organizations who work towards the development of Ugandans, more so in the villages. Take a look.
Uganda Change Agent Association is a non-government organization that aims at empowering rural local communities on how to develop economically, socially and politically. Saving and bookkeeping is among those emphasized, and in this, communities are taught the advantages behind saving and bookkeeping.
We go to the people and look at what they are doing, and we start with what they have, and then we build it.
Rose Obiga, the chairperson Uganda Change Agent Association, from her research narrates why most Ugandans hate and fear to save and bookkeeping.
Savings is not easy. You have to forego one immediate need for the future. And most of us in Uganda, we look at things from the face value. Let me do it now. Yeah, but for change agent methodology, you save for tomorrow.
At their annual General Assembly, Yumbe Member of Parliament Raulu Zaitun proposed to government to begin working hand in hand with such organizations that aim at empowering people, more so in the villages.
As government, we are fighting corruption. We want work to be done the way it is supposed to be done. The way I see change agents, they do their work as it is planned. Therefore, that means I would appeal to government, to the relevant ministries. Such organizations which are doing works will be considered, this will be put in our annual budget.
Driwaru also had a message to all change agents under their umbrella organization, Uganda Change Agent Association.
So I urge all agents to first of all change themselves. They should do their things smartly. They will have message to pass to the people. If you don't change yourself, if you are not changed yourself, people will not listen to you.
Miriam Jessica Muchivi and Florence Opera are members of Uganda Change Agent Association who have been recognized as one of the best change agents towards the development of their communities. The two narrates how they managed to transform their communities. However, they still find a challenge in transforming the locals in the spheres of saving and record keeping.
And the others just neglect it. They don't think it is important. They leave it just like that. Yet, if you don't keep your books of accounts, you cannot know the the profits and the expenses you have incurred.
Uganda Change Agent Association operates currently in over 50 districts across the country and has over 4,000 members. Tony Senabulia compiled this story for UBC News.
Umeme has given residents of Kasokoso amnesty of 1 month to denounce power theft, undo illegal connections and acquire free safe connection services from its operatives or risk being arrested. The Kampala Regional Manager Umeme gave the warning during a meeting with the district leaders at LC1 headquarters in Umeme.
To Uganda's electricity distributor Umeme, Kasokoso village in Kira sub-county in Kampala has become a red spot and an epitome of power theft that are causing losses. Umeme says congestion of houses in the area boosts residents' ability to connect power illegally and puts lives of residents in danger.
A lot of people using power illegally, and this illegal power connection comes with a lot of deaths. We've registered quite a number of deaths, and that notwithstanding, of course, we also incur losses as a company. In terms of percentages, we lose about 90% of all the power we supply in that area. It's all gone. We only have like 10% of the people legally connected.
Umeme has since last week disconnected Kasokoso B village. However, meeting with residents from Kira division and Kasokoso village, Umeme agreed on a 1 month amnesty period before forceful action.
We have agreed there's going to be amnesty for all those that are using illegal connections, and the amnesty will go on for 1 month. After 1 month, we will then now go in and uproot the illegal connections and even prosecute those who will be found still on illegal connections.
Power thefts are a common vice in many of Kampala's suburbs. Residents, however, link the growth of the vice to technicians known as kamyufus and perpetuated by corrupt operatives.
Abantu bano balooza nti musenze gabbeeyi nnyo ogafuna. Ne balooza nti bano abajjako ebiri oba ebiri kitundu omwezi oba ogumu kitundu oba esatu nti babbeeyi layisi naye ate ndaba nti babanyiga kubanga olwedde osanga omuntu ng'alina balobu 3.
Nti abantu b'omuluka gwange waggulu awo e Kasokoso bakkiriza nti obubbi bw'amasannyalaze bubi kabagendera amasannyalaze amaki amatuufu.
David Matovu for UBC in Kampala.
Secondary school teachers and administrators have been asked to be more practical in their styles of teaching to enable students grasp the subject. This was at the second Uganda Science Education Program Entrepreneurship Training Session that has been taking place at St. Joseph Nsambya Girls in Kampala.
The program is a joint undertaking aiming at empowering teachers with sufficient practical skills to pass on to the learners. The initiative is spearheaded by Chisubi University under the Brothers of Christian Instruction and the Little Sisters of St. Francis of Assisi. Science teachers, school administrators and students who have been attending a 2-day training on the integration of knowledge with a view of acquiring vocational skills for future use. This was during a 2-day science and entrepreneurship training workshop for students, school administrators and teachers from participating schools at St. Joseph Nsambya Girls SS in Kampala. The facilitators were from Teach a Man to Fish and sponsored by Total Uganda. Brother Vincent Barije, who chaired the session, says the training is in line with Uganda's mission of fulfilling the Global Sustainable Development Goals, which aims at uplifting the living standards of the people.
Although initially we help
to improve the teaching and learning of science, but this is very much connected with what the government is doing. The government is interested in skilling Ugandans, and it also kind of promotes the 17 SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals.
The Uganda Science Education Program National Coordinator William Barugaba underscores the significance of the training.
Field learners should benefit, should earn from their innovations, and hence we partnered with the Teacher Man to Fish to ensure that we integrate the concept of enterprise for improvement, for livelihoods, but also to ensure that the innovations young people come up with in the form of trying to improve their competencies.
The Uganda Science Education Program is a joint partnership between the Chisubi University and the Brothers of Christian Instruction and Little Sisters of St. Francis of Assisi. It is geared at promoting science education in the participating schools with a bias on girls.
In our business news, tea sector players are calling for the regulation of the sector in order to attract investment, as well as make it competitive locally and globally. The players, mostly from private sector, are optimistic of better fortunes with the hosting of the 4th African Tea Convention and Exhibition in Kampala District. Now, the global event is organized by the East African Tea Trade Association and Uganda Tea Association.
Uganda is the second leading tea producer in Africa after Kenya, though Uganda's tea consumption is less than most countries that don't produce the crop. It is estimated that Uganda's consumption is a dismal 500 grams per capita per annum.
We need also to start encouraging our own citizenry in the Eastern Central African region to consume tea. Because tea is, worldwide, tea is the most preferred beverage. But in Africa, do we really emphasize on that? And you'd find that in some cases, when you take it without milk, people start saying you're having a lot of difficulties. But you go to the Arab countries, when you take tea, as it is, without milk is when it's the preferred mode. In fact, sometimes even without sugar. You know also how you take it matters a great deal.
Lack of an enabling policy and government support has hampered the progress and visibility of the tea sector, and this has negatively affected the contribution of tea to Uganda's economy.
The basics are 2 leaves and a bud, some crop nutrition, some agronomy or management, and a level of proper guidelines on how long or how you should manage the gardens and how you should deliver the tea leaf from the garden to the factory or the company that makes that converts the tea. So those are the issues we would want government to support this sector, because the sector has potential to actually reach the level where coffee is currently.
The tea sector players in Uganda are banking on the 4th African Tea Convention and exhibition slated for late June this year in Kampala to reposition their sector. The conference will host specialized forums focusing on the 4 crucial aspects affecting the tea farmer, like the environment, production and processing, human rights and other tea production challenges, and consumer changing tastes.
So this convention is an opportunity for people to come and interact and see what is taking place in the world, because we produce 80% of this tea we produce locally is exported, and once it is sold in the world market, whoever buys it, then it loses the traceability, because they are blenders. They mix Uganda, Kenya teas, and DRC, Rwanda, and they make their own brand which they sell. So our identity as a country in the region, even in Kenya, when you go, tea goes.
Annually, Uganda produces at least 30 million kilograms of tea. However, there is a new strategy supported by the World Bank that seeks to boost production to over 100 million bags. Tea in Uganda is grown in various districts. These include Fotpoto, Kisoro, Bushenyi, Kabale, Mukono, and the lower slopes of Rwenzori Mountains in Kabarole district, among others. Dennis Igoa for UBC News in Kampala.
Threats of food security are looming in some parts of the country due to climate change, which has changed the rainfall pattern. Some farmers in Nakaseke have encountered great losses as they planted during the onset of March rains, which ended up drying. According to agricultural scientists, the situation is purely climate change and Ugandans need to be ready to embrace it. Details follow.
Climate change have continued to threaten food security in Uganda. According to the Program Officer, Crop Enhancement at Sesakawa Global 2000, Christine Chomgisha, farmers under their supervision have not had such losses.
In our previous discussions, we talked about climate change, and it has affected a number of farmers, including most farmers in Nakaseke. However, the farmers we are intervening with have not been so much affected. One, we have a system of information sharing. We have an MOU with InfoTrade, and they offer us weather-related information.
Chomgisha was training farmers in Nakaseke sub-county during the Farmers Greenfield Day.
Farmers are now able to produce. They can now yield. They no longer produce one basin from an acre, but instead they are getting tons and tons, ranging from 3 to 5 depending on the type of variety and crop that they produce.
The region, predominantly savanna grassland, is a semi-arid area, and accordingly, these farmers are being exposed to drought-tolerant technologies.
Their capacity, we have seen farmers trying to use the fertilizers. We are seeing farmers going in for improved seeds. So we are seeing the real agricultural transformation. The farmers are looking for knowledge through the CBS, through the extension agents. Yeah, I think farmers are adopting the technologies.
Nakaseke District Production and Marketing Officer Chikonyogo Francis Xavier is irked by the persistent cutting down of trees, saying that the act is responsible for the deteriorating arability.
We've been facing Nakaseke, and actually we're still even facing it right now, that most of the trees have been cut, especially in the cattle corridor. But as a production department, we've come up with the enterprises and strategies just to address the situation. How
farmers were shown quality planting inputs that are tolerant to drought, fertilizer application and water retention technologies, among others.
I think the last farmer we visited has clearly demonstrated that if you use improved farming methods, of course that includes the application of fertilizers, use of improved seeds, and even of course spacing and many other improved methods, of course the output, the agricultural output, it becomes a bit higher.
Douglas Setumba with this report.
In our international news, U.S. President Donald Trump has dismissed concerns about recent North Korean missile tests, appearing to contradict his own national security advisor. In a tweet issued shortly after his arrival in Japan on Sunday, Mr. Trump called the missiles small weapons. U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton said on Saturday that the tests violated UN resolutions on North Korea. President Trump began a state visit to Japan on Sunday by teeing off a round of golf with Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. The two leaders ate breakfast together on Sunday before heading out to play 16 holes of golf in Chiba outside the capital, Tokyo. Mr. Trump has said he wants to strike a deal with Japan to address what he has called a trade imbalance between the two countries. Now, not for the first time, his tweet appeared to put him at odds with Mr. Bolton and also with his host nation. Mr. Abe last weekend called the North Korea test extremely regrettable. Mr. Bolton and Mr. Abe both accused North Korea of violating UN resolutions. Now, the contrast between the president and his national security advisor followed other recent divergences on foreign policy, including how to approach the crisis in Venezuela and U.S. relations with Iran. In our sports stories, history was written as Proline FC registered its name among its giants in the Uganda Cup tournament, winning the trophy on penalties. Proline played to a 1-1 draw with Bright Stars, only to be separated on penalties.
Proline Football Club has written history, clinching their first Uganda Cup trophy, winning the Big League trophy as well as topping their group. One would say it is a successful season for the club that was relegated from the top flight league a season back. Proline played to a 1-1 draw in normal time to send the match into tense post-match penalties, winning the shootouts 5-4.
I think it was Sabira who decided who was going to win. He refused to give me 2 penalties, and he gave that penalty. I think it was ball to hand, and I think it was Sabira who decided who is going to win today.
I think an amazing team, because they see that we sold some years back, now germinated, and we have the fruits out of it. The people like Bunju, Juna are now coming in and Kanu are now coming in to bear fruits after the seeds that we sowed some years back.
It was very fine. The first, we thought we were going to lose it. But the last, we managed to come down and concentrate and we had a equalizer.
Being awarded with a trophy, Proline's Mustafa Mujuzi won both the tournament's most valuable player and top scorer. Bright Stars, on the other hand, didn't walk away empty-handed, with goalkeeper Benson Wangima scooping the best goalkeeper of the tournament accolade. The focus is now on the new league. Competition in the top flight league is quite tight. Proline is to represent the country in the CAF Confederation Cup, a task that requires money and resources. Ngabo Emon, reporting for Ubc TV.
Well, congratulations to Proline FC. Moving on, the 4th outing of the 2019 Corporate League has witnessed action in netball, basketball and football at Mandela National Stadium, Nambole. Take a look.
The early morning downpour upon Kampala and many other areas hasn't dampened the spirits during the 4th round of the 2019 Corporate League season. Contested at Mandela National Stadium, Nambole, action was intense as teams continue the early hunt for points to put them in ascendance.
In my own opinion, I think it's a good thing. It shows that people have really taken interest in the corporate league. By the fact that it has become competitive, it's not so competitive as people may think so, but it is in a good way. They are networking, they're socializing, but they still show that they have to compete for these trophies at the end of that day.
The only dent to today's action was the rain, but even it couldn't spoil the party as teams exhibited quality notes in almost all games.
From the technical angle, we are faring well. The only challenge we have is weather, because in most cases when it rains heavily, we tend to start our games very late, which hinders our fixtures. We end up having fixture backlogs because of the weather, but by and large, we're doing fairly well.
In some of the football games played, the National Water and Sewerage Corporation edged the Uganda Communication Commission by a goal to nil, and the Electoral Commission beat Airtel Uganda 2-0. In netball, there were victories for Cipla Quality Chemicals, Total Uganda, Civil Aviation Authority, and the Uganda Revenue Authority, among others. John Barnes, Sentamo, reporting.
All is set for the second Beach Football World Cup that gets underway on Monday at Spina Beach in Tebe. Now, the tournament is expected to attract at least 10 countries, most of which are in town.
Uganda Woodball Federation's day of reckoning is here, with all set for opening of the second Beach Woodball World Cup that starts on Monday at Spina Beach in Tebe.
Tomorrow we are officially opening the event. We shall have the opening ceremony at the main ground, where the competition is going to take place. Then eventually after the training, we shall have the teams carry out a simple tour around to know Uganda, because we need to market our country at the same time.
The guest teams, including Hong Kong and Taiwan, have arrived with high hopes of winning the tournament that also has a juniors category.
Uganda is a beautiful country, and it's a country that we can speak English, and we are all together. So this time, Asia has sent a big team to Uganda. I think it's one of the biggest teams in the history of football, from Asia to Uganda. From China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, India, Korea, we are here because we support football, and we are happy that football is having a good development in Uganda, especially in Africa.
Players from the guest teams are optimistic they will excel at the tournament, where Uganda is fancied to use home advantage to the maximum.
So hopefully for this competition, hopefully Hong Kong team we can at least get some medal, and yeah, hopefully, because we don't have enough people as a team, so hopefully as an individual, and also we have some doubles competition, and hopefully we can get some medal. Hopefully it's the champion. Yeah.
Hopefully, I guess my target is to win the champions for single or for double competition, and I have confidence because I won the 2007 the Asian Cup, the single fairway champion. So I come here to hopefully I can win the champion again.
The tournament starts with a trainer's workshop to equip participants and officials with further skills, and will be followed by the International Uganda Open Football Championship. John Barnes, Sendamo, reporting.
National Basketball League action has entered match day 10 at YMCA Wandege. Details follow.
Betway Power, playing in the white jersey, has beaten Kampala Capital City Authority 82-66 to improve its position on the log. Power had Joseph Ikong, Geoffrey Soro, Isaac Afidra, Libe Makala and Paul Odong to thank for the result against KCCA that at some stage of the game threatened to cause an upset. At this stage of the league, reigning champion City Oilers that beat our saviour 80-52 still lead the standings, but their coach Manda Juruni admits it's a tight contest for the playoff positions.
You see teams like City Oil, KIU, Power, that everyone thought would dominate, but that has not been the case. We've seen teams like UCU, JKL, and Warriors, coming up, and even DJ playing so well and winning a couple of games. So the competition becomes wider. I think that has been the trend in the first round.
In other games played, Falcons downed Kampala University 78-66. In the women's category, last season's winners, JKL Lady Dolphins, remain the team to beat. John Barnes, Sendam, reporting.
Uganda Boxing Federation has hosted its trial competition at the MTN Arena Lugogo. Now, this competition is a selection exercise as the federation continues to prepare its team that will contest all the games. The All Africa Games in Morocco later this year are much anticipated because for the most disciplines, including boxing, they act as a qualifier to the 2020 Olympic Games in Japan, to which boxing has been cleared to take part. This trial at Lugogo comes after the team has been in non-residential training for the past few weeks and now aims at reducing numbers as the federation works towards the final squad that will undergo intense residential training. The rules of engagement in boxing are that the final squad is decided after a contest between boxers in the same weight category. In some of the bouts, John Katongole edged Luanga Muhammad and Businje champion beat Moses Kabuka. In the female category, there were victories from Nalie Jalia, Susan Akelwa among Rebecca, Emily Nakalema, Joy Nambiro and Vivian Apio, who got a walkover on Maureen Nawire. Well, that brings us to the end of our news bulletin at 10 p.m. Let's take a look at the headlines before we sign out. President Museveni is back from Pretoria. UPDF destroys 410 illegal fishing boats. Trump dismisses North Korean weapons tests. In our sports, teams continue search for Helmin Corporate League. That's all we had for you in this bulletin. Thank you so much for watching UBC News Tonight with me, Sharon Chomjisha, and Nakakoni Elizabeth on Sign Language. From the team, and I have a good night.